VoyMonk here, doing a video voice vlog. I think I should probably just start calling them video voice vlogs from here on out. If I do a video vlog, you'll definitely know, as I did with vlog 100. I think one of the questions that probably would be inspired by the thing that I do when I make these vlogs, and especially the content that I've made more as of recent, is maybe why I do what I do the way that I do it. I think one of the things that's very important in terms of creating content or doing something where there's going to be an exposure to the public, and knowing that, having self-awareness. Now, I think in general, we see this happen all the time, especially nowadays because, 15 minutes of fame seems to extend to almost an hour or more. And, for myself, being 46 years old, it's one of those things that makes me kind of shake my head, scratch my head, and I wonder about the world that we live in as compared to, the way that it's been throughout the years that I've lived. But I would say that for the most part, as things change, and they do, is that people overall, when it comes to the philosophy of knowing your audience, is that your audience is, I wouldn't say on an individual level so much, but as a collective, I don't know if it's change is the right word. They adapt, they move, they don't stay the same, and I think in terms of a recipe, as far as what is successful, what is not, what is to be expected, and that sort of thing, I think sometimes that's why, for example, if a television show is really successful, right? I think we all know that when a show is successful, a lot of times the competitors for whatever that show would be like to try to incorporate certain aspects of that show that they believe that are part of that recipe that makes it successful. And so the point that I'm trying to make here is that when doing these vlogs, video voice vlogs, or any other kind of content when it comes to mass consumption, being self-aware is, I would say, at least for me, very pivotal in what I've experienced and what I've seen. But I think to the other extent is also to the knowing your audience, right? Who is your audience? What kind of audience are you specifically trying to engage in one form or another? And I think that's difficult because, as we adapt, audiences adapt. And I guess I'm kind of hesitant to use the term change because mostly of what comes to mind and what people have the impression about when they hear the word change. But I guess that could apply here. Like I said, the magic of me not editing and doing this kind of off the cuff is part of what you're experiencing now. But the point being is that being self-aware is important. But I think it's also important not to get too completely in one's own head and hung up. I think there's something to be said for a balance. I think there's also something to be said for the formula or recipe that people use for certain kinds of success. And I think on the tail end, the last bit, as far as knowing your audience and maybe knowing what kind of audience you want as opposed to maybe who or whatever might show up. And so, and hopefully that came out right, but I'm saying to you, just in general, I'll speak a little bit more about this on my next vlog too, for later this week, but I think that those are important details because, the expectations for this channel are probably pretty low, and I know that. I definitely have a who cares type of vlog and channel in probably in the greater scope. Not all things for all people. And I certainly would not suspect or suggest that this is one of those types of things. Not to be a snobbish or anything like that. It's just I'm sure that I'm not everyone's cup of tea. So something to be considered. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for this Monday vlog. Until next time, take care.